Well, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Damon Maloney alongside Katie Houston. They went from city leaders to defendants fighting felony charges, and today the trials of East Cleveland's mayor and a former city council member got underway.
Mayor Brandon King and ex-councilman Ernest Smith face theft in office and other charges. Let's get now to News 5 investigator Scott Knoll, joining us with more from today's first day of testimony.
Yeah, Katie, former councilman Ernest Smith faces charges connected to the use of a city car. Prosecutors say Smith used it, along with a city gas card, for personal use. Smith denies that, but most of today's testimony centered around East Cleveland's mayor, Brandon King. Mayor Brandon King faces felony counts of theft in office and having an unlawful interest in a public contract, along with 8 other misdemeanors stemming from his 8+ years as East Cleveland's mayor. Prosecutors warning jurors of the civics lesson they're about to sit through.
Unless you're a municipal government guru, you're probably going to hear more than you'll ever want to know about the inner workings of municipal government in general, East Cleveland government in particular.
Investigators say while in office, King authorized nearly $77,000 in contracts and city payments to businesses owned by King or his family. That included rent for the building housing East Cleveland's domestic violence program. King's attorney said that contract with the city goes back decades before King's family owned the building, and that the mayor requested and followed state ethics opinions to avoid any conflict of interest. But prosecutors painted a different picture, pointing to what they called a pattern of behavior.
He doesn't take no for an answer. You're going to see a pattern of not just disregard, but disdain for the law. And when people tell him no.
Investigators say while King put control of the company in someone else's name after taking over as mayor, he still maintained financial control over the company.
And lo and behold, there's only one person that can sign the checks for KMG. Only one person. Mayor King.
And investigators say when city council cut the rent payments out of the city's budget, King's administration kept on paying. But King's attorney argues the rent payments and domestic violence programs funding has nothing to do with the city, that it has its own funding.
They don't have to get approval from city council, the mayor. What they do and how they spend can only be controlled by the grant.
Instead, attorney Charles Tyler says the real motivation for the charges is political. Another attempt, he believes, to overturn the will of East Cleveland voters and push King out of office.
It is our belief that some of the people who will come and testify from the city of East Cleveland are the same people who have tried many different times to become mayor.
And right now, King is out of office. He was suspended after his indictment. However, if he's found not guilty of the felony charges, King could be reinstated. Reporting live, I'm News 5 investigator Scott Knoll.